Tension is rising. The ground is shaking. fxalexg just confirmed Mat Armstrong is coming next week to fix the blacklisted Bugatti car.
The pressure is building fast, and this time the stakes are bigger than ever. As rumors explode across the car community, everyone is talking about one thing. Mat Armstrong is reportedly arriving next week, while fxalexg desperately needs $250,000 to keep the dream alive. What started as another ambitious supercar project has suddenly turned into a race against time, money, and reputation. Fans are watching every update, every post, and every hidden clue, wondering whether this massive collaboration will save the build or destroy everything they've worked for. Behind the scenes, expensive repairs, impossible deadlines, and non-stop pressure are pushing the entire team to the edge. But if there's one thing people know about Mat Armstrong, it's that he never walks away from a challenge, especially when millions are watching. The question now isn't whether the project can be finished. It's whether they can survive the chaos before Mat even arrives. The internet exploded the moment the announcement surfaced. Car fans across YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram immediately started connecting the dots. Try to understand why fxalexg suddenly needed a staggering $250,000 before Mat Armstrong arrived next week. At first, many believed it was simply another exaggerated social media headline designed to attract attention. But the deeper people looked into the situation, the more serious everything appeared to become. Expensive parts were missing, labor costs were spiraling out of control, and the project itself seemed far more damaged than anyone originally imagined. What was supposed to be a dream-level automotive transformation was quickly turning into a financial nightmare unfolding in front of millions of viewers. For fans who have followed Mat Armstrong for years, this kind of chaos feels strangely familiar. His entire reputation was built on taking impossible situations and somehow bringing them back to life. He became famous for rebuilding wrecked supercars that most experts consider beyond saving. Cars flooded with water, burned in fires, smashed in accidents, or abandoned after catastrophic mechanical failures suddenly returned to the road because Mat refused to quit. That relentless determination is exactly why people believe his arrival next week could completely change everything for fxalexg. Yet even Mat's biggest supporters are beginning to wonder whether this challenge may finally be too large, too expensive, and too risky to survive. Behind the cameras, the pressure was becoming unbearable. Every day new problems appeared. Parts that should have arrived weeks earlier were delayed again. Suppliers demanded payments up front. Mechanics were working long hours trying to solve issues nobody expected to face. And with every setback came even more criticism online. Some viewers accused fxalexg of getting in over his head. Others claimed the project was doomed from the beginning. But despite the negativity, there was still a growing sense of anticipation building across the automotive world. Because when Mat Armstrong enters a project, people expect drama, tension, and somehow, against all odds, a miracle ending. Sources close to the situation hinted that the financial problems were much worse than the public realized. The $250,000 figure wasn't just a random number thrown around for attention. It represented unpaid invoices, emergency repairs, transport costs, rare components, and unexpected engineering work that nobody planned for. Luxury car builds can destroy budgets faster than almost any other business, especially when dealing with rare hypercars or heavily damaged exotics. One small mistake can cost tens of thousands overnight. A single custom part can take months to arrive. And if the wrong system fails during testing, the entire build may need to be torn apart and rebuilt from scratch as the deadline approached. The emotional stress started affecting everyone involved. Videos became more tense. Conversations sounded more desperate. Even longtime viewers noticed the atmosphere changing. The excitement of building an incredible machine was slowly being replaced by exhaustion and uncertainty. But strangely, that tension only attracted more attention online. Millions of people couldn't stop watching because the situation no longer felt like ordinary entertainment. It felt real, raw, unpredictable. Nobody knew whether the project would collapse publicly or become one of the greatest automotive comeback stories YouTube had ever seen. Meanwhile, Mat Armstrong remained unusually quiet. That silence only fueled speculation. Fans analyzed every social media story, every cryptic comment, and every hidden detail, searching for clues about what he planned to do when he arrived. Some believed he already had sponsors prepared to help fund the project. Others thought he might reveal a major partnership or surprise investor capable of rescuing the entire build. But there were also darker theories spreading through forums and comment sections. What if Matt arrived only to discover the damage was impossible to fix? What if the costs continued climbing beyond even his reach? For the first time in a long while, uncertainty surrounded a Mat Armstrong project in a way fans had never seen before. The automotive community itself became divided. One side believed the project represented exactly what car culture should be, taking risks, pushing limits, and refusing surrender even when the odds look impossible. The other side argued it was becoming reckless, with enormous amounts of money disappearing into a build that might never truly succeed. Some critics questioned whether YouTube's pressure for bigger and crazier content was forcing creators into dangerous financial situations. In their eyes, the audience constantly demands more expensive cars, more shocking rebuilds, and more dramatic challenges, leaving creators trapped in a cycle where every project must somehow outdo the last one. Still, supporters continued standing behind fxalexg. They pointed out that nobody creates legendary automotive stories by playing safe. Every unforgettable build in internet history involved moments where failure seemed unavoidable. That risk is exactly what makes people emotionally invested. Viewers don't just want polished success. They want struggle, setbacks, pressure, and the possibility of disaster. Watching creators fight through impossible situations creates a connection audiences can't find anywhere else. And that emotional investment was now stronger than ever as more details leaked. Rumors began spreading that the project vehicle itself might be hiding catastrophic hidden damage. Some insiders claimed structural components were compromised. Others suggested the electrical systems were still unstable despite weeks of repairs. A few even hinted the engine may require another complete rebuild before the car could safely run again. If true, the situation was far worse than anyone publicly admitted. Rebuilding a damaged exotic vehicle is already difficult. Rebuilding one while under massive online scrutiny, financial pressure, and impossible deadlines becomes something entirely different. Despite everything, excitement kept growing because people know Mat Armstrong thrives under pressure. Throughout his career, he built an image around doing what experts said couldn't be done. Every challenge strengthened that reputation. Every successful rebuild made audiences believe he could perform automotive miracles. That's why his arrival next week feels so important. It isn't just another collaboration anymore. To many fans, it feels like the moment that will determine whether this project becomes legendary or infamous. The days leading up to Matt's arrival began feeling almost cinematic. Workshops stayed active deep into the night. Team members rushed to organize tools, parts, and equipment before he stepped through the doors. Every unfinished detail became another reminder of how little time remained. Cameras captured moments of frustration, exhaustion, and uncertainty that revealed just how intense the situation had become behind the scenes. But alongside that stress was something else. Hope, because no matter how impossible things looked, there was still a belief that somehow everything could come together at the final moment. Online reactions became even more emotional. Some viewers pledged support by purchasing merchandise or donating during live streams. Others simply flooded comment sections with encouragement, reminding the team not to quit now. That kind of loyalty showed how deeply audiences had become invested in the outcome. The project was no longer just about a car. It became a story about ambition, pressure, risk, and determination. People wanted to see human beings overcome impossible odds. And in today's world, those kind of stories spread faster than anything else online. But perhaps the most shocking part of the entire situation was how quickly things escalated. Just weeks earlier, everything looked relatively normal. Exciting updates, ambitious goals, and confident promises filled every upload. Then suddenly, the reality of the costs hit hard. It served as a brutal reminder of how unforgiving the supercar world can be. One unexpected issue can destroy months of planning overnight. One wrong decision can cost more than most people earn in years. And yet creators continue chasing these projects because the reward of success feels almost addictive as the countdown continued. Speculation reached another level entirely. Would Mat Armstrong bring solutions nobody expected? Would he uncover hidden problems even worse than feared? Could the team actually raise the $250,000 in time? Or was the internet watching the slow collapse of a dream too ambitious to survive? Nobody truly knew the answers. And that uncertainty became the most powerful part of the story. Because in the end, this isn't only about money or cars. It's about what happens when ambition collides with reality under the eyes of millions of people. It's about creators risking everything for a chance to build something unforgettable. And most importantly, it's about whether determination alone can still overcome impossible circumstances when the pressure becomes overwhelming. Now, with next week approaching faster than ever, all eyes remain locked on one question. When Mat Armstrong finally arrives, will he save the project or witness one of the biggest automotive disasters YouTube has ever seen? The night before Mat Armstrong was scheduled to arrive, almost nobody inside the workshop could sleep. The atmosphere had completely changed. What once felt exciting now felt dangerously close to collapse. Half-finished panels were scattered across the floor. Expensive carbon fiber parts sat unopened in boxes, and laptops glowed deep into the night as the team searched desperately for solutions. Every hour mattered now. Every delay meant more money disappearing. And somewhere in the middle of all the chaos stood fxalexg, staring at a project that had grown far beyond anything he originally imagined. People watching online only saw edited videos and dramatic thumbnails, but behind the scenes reality was much harsher. Stress was affecting everyone. Tempers were shorter. Conversations became tense. There were moments when the entire project nearly stopped because nobody could agree on the next step. Some believed they should simplify the build to save money. Others argued that backing down now would destroy everything they had worked for. The pressure of public expectations made every decision feel even heavier. Millions of viewers weren't just watching casually anymore. They were emotionally invested in the outcome. Then came another devastating setback. During a late-night inspection, the team reportedly discovered additional damage hidden beneath parts of the car that had already been rebuilt. At first, silence filled the workshop. Nobody wanted to say the words out loud, because everyone knew what this meant. More parts, more labor, more delays, more money they simply didn't have. The realization hit, like a punch to the stomach. For a moment, the dream seemed finished. Some crew members quietly began discussing worst-case scenarios. What if the project had to be abandoned? What if they ran out of funding before Mat even arrived? What if all the hype surrounding the build turned into public humiliation? Those fears were becoming impossible to ignore. Online audiences love success stories, but they also watch failures with brutal intensity. And in the world of automotive YouTube, one disastrous project can damage reputations forever. Yet somehow, even in the middle of that uncertainty, nobody walked away. That's the strange thing about projects like these. The deeper people fall into them, the harder it becomes to quit. Too much time has been invested. Too much pride. Too many sleepless nights. Even when logic says stop, passion keeps pushing forward. And that stubborn determination is exactly what built the audience in the first place. Fans don't connect with perfection. They connect with struggle. They connect with people refusing to surrender when everything falls apart around them. As sunrise approached, rumors started flooding social media again. Several fan accounts claimed Mat Armstrong had already seen private photos of the damage and still decided to come. That single rumor changed the mood online almost instantly. If true, it meant Mat believed the project could still be saved. And if there's one thing fans trust, it's his ability to find solutions where nobody else can. The excitement became explosive. Comment sections filled with predictions. Some imagined Mat walking into a workshop, instantly identifying problems everyone else missed. Others joked that he would somehow rebuild the entire car in one weekend with nothing but determination and YouTube energy. But beneath the jokes was genuine belief. Over the years, Mat had built more than just a fan base. He built trust. People genuinely believe impossible things can happen when he gets involved. Still, even supporters knew the situation felt different. The scale of the financial pressure alone was terrifying. $250,000 isn't just a difficult amount to raise. It's life-changing money. For most people, losing even a fraction of that would be devastating. Yet inside the supercar world, numbers like these disappear frighteningly fast. One custom gearbox, one engine failure, one transport issue. Suddenly tens of thousands are gone overnight. It's a level of risk most viewers can barely imagine. And yet, that danger is exactly what keeps audiences glued to the story. Because deep down, Everyone understands this project represents something bigger than a car build. It represents ambition in its rawest form, the willingness to chase something enormous despite the possibility of failure. That's why so many people became obsessed with following every update. They weren't just watching a rebuild anymore. They were watching human beings gamble everything on a dream. When Matt finally landed, the internet nearly broke. Photos and clips spread across social media within minutes. Fans tracked every movement, every vehicle, every glimpse of the workshop entrance. The anticipation had become unreal. Some viewers compared it to the arrival of a movie hero entering the final act of a blockbuster film. Others believed this moment would either become legendary or catastrophic, with absolutely no middle ground. Inside the garage, the tension was unbearable. Reports claimed the first walkthrough lasted far longer than expected. Matt carefully examined the vehicle, inspecting areas that cameras rarely showed publicly. Team members waited nervously for his reaction. Nobody knew whether he would feel confident or horrified. Every second of silence felt endless. Then came the moment nobody expected. Instead of immediately criticizing the situation, Matt reportedly smiled. Not because the problems were